let me do this live right fast. It's a lot that I want to say, and I want to say it really fast because this gadget that I have attached to my head is kind of tight because you know that girl is homey girl, so girl that girl be applying pressure girl, and not in a good way. But anyway, so I was watching a video with T.S. Madison and Sydney Starr that I came across being on one of my good sisters' timeline, Lynn. And I watched the video because now I'm in a different place with Madison. You know, I think Madison, once she cuts you off or once she, you know, like especially where she's going in her career now, she can't she can't really afford to have relationships that she's not, you know, sure about. And so I get it, and I totally respect that. I'm not trying to be best buddies with her because y'all hear me speaking kindly on her name. I'm not, you know, kissing her ass or clout chasing. It's just called growth. You know, it's growth. So we can have this conversation and talk about her and not talk about her in a negative way, but um, still be critical in our thinking, still have a bigger picture of the whole thing. So she said a couple of things yesterday. She was trying to bring home to the world that if a man messes with a trans woman, and I'm assuming she's talking about pre-op because she doesn't really have a lot of awareness when it comes to post-op trans women, and even though she was being really passive aggressive with her statements about sex changes, you could kind of see that there was some. She's still working on some feelings that she have about the sex change. Like she's still working on it. Like you know, just how she referenced the sacredness of getting a sex change as I could go to Thailand or I could go behind this store and chop up my own dick. You know what I'm saying? Like the way that she talked about it, I don't think she really understands what the purpose of it is. I don't think she really get it. You know, I don't think she really get it. And that's okay. That's okay. I'm not mad at my sister for that. You know, you still my sister, still love you, but I get it. I understand. Um, all sex changes, first of all, don't hate their genitalia. They just don't need it. You know, they just don't need that to navigate this reality. They want to experience something different. You know, many of us want to feel more connected to those who are womb bearers. You know, those who resonate with femininity and the divine feminine aspect. And the penis just conflicts that. You know, it's behind the scenes. We know how the world is really set up. You know, like a lot of trans women know how the world is really set up. You know, you may not admit it to me, and you may not admit it on this live, but you know in the back of your mind and the bottom of your heart that as long as you keep that thing between your legs, the brotherhood gonna always feel like your loyalty aligns with them. This is a patriarchal society. So when you keep that dang dong, you saying the Father God, Master King, the one that's on the money, the one that's in the White House, the one that's the Pope, and the one that's the king now because the queen dead. You saying I'm on your side subliminally. It's a it's a it's a it's a it's a subliminal thing. They as long as you keep that package, the brotherhood know. The brotherhood know. So, you know, I remember one time I heard her say her dick was her direct phone line to God. Like that her dick is her direct phone line to God. I could get him on the phone. And she specifically said I could get him on the phone. So in the back of your mind and the bottom of your heart, you believe that a man is God. Your actions, you believe that a man is divine. And your actions, they say it. This is no shade. This is not me reading. This is just me saying my opinion. And everybody got an opinion. So, but I feel like a lot of trans women keep their penises because it's just like with females. Females don't feel valuable if they don't have a uterus, if they don't have ovaries, if they can't produce children, if they can't make babies. A lot of trans women are sharing in that same objectification because if I can't slang this pipe, if I can't lay this log down on this man, I'm not gonna be able to keep him. So I gotta keep this pipe so that I could keep this man, so I could keep this man happy. It's the same thing with women making babies. It's that same thing. It just has a different face. Now you're meant to use your penis to pleasure this man, even when you don't want to. Because I hear so many stories from girls who don't like using their penis, who don't like topping these men, who don't have a desire to top these men. But they have to in order to compete with these other girls who love slanging peace. Now, when you get a sex change should never be for a man. It should never be for your partner. It should be for yourself. It's a spiritual journey for yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's when we are no longer controlled by our genitalia, but we now control our genitalia because I administer the moans and the testosterone at my leisure, what I can handle. So now I have more control over how my body responds to things and situations, and so it's not a distraction from me. Now, and there are difficulties with everything. There is no perfect way to be for any of us. That doesn't exist. So I'm not glorifying the sex change, but I'm also not fixing to support a narrative that makes all sex changes feel like we hate our anatomy and that's why we get rid of it. No, we just don't see the necessity. We don't, we like a lot of y'all keep y'all genitalia so that y'all can make somebody else happy. You keep your genitalia so you can make grandbabies, so your family can be happy. You keep your genitalia so you can participate in this society and be viewed as normal by making children. Or you keep your genitalia so you can make another man happy. A lot of us don't keep our genitalia for ourselves. We keep our genitalia because we live in a society that profits off of genitalia. They can use it. You could be in the sex industry. You could be in the baby making industry and bring children here to work up on master plantation and be a and create more prospects for the plantation. So a lot of y'all genitalia is a business. And so when a girl decides that she's not gonna be ruled by her genitalia, when she says, "Oh no, I'm not participating in that," y'all want to label her crazy. But it's no different than y'all do black women. The angry black woman. Oh, hell has no fury like a woman scorned. Sex changes go through the same stigma. The moment we take some agency in our lives and decide that we're not finna let you force us to keep these penises, that we're not finna let you force us to be running around here pleasuring you and using our penis to make you happy, this thing that we didn't even want or felt we needed. The moment we take some sovereignty or some agency, now we're the angry black woman or the crazy tranny. No, you're not gonna screw that narrative. We all have different journeys. Now I'm gonna get into um when I was pre-op, every man that I dated, even with an orchiectomy, most of them identified as gay. The only ones that did not identify as gay were the ones that was really young. Like I'm in my 30s, he in his 20s. And so I'm telling him what his identity is. But when they became mature enough to identify for themselves, most of them identified as gay. Now, this is for men who exclusively like pre op trans women. Because in a lot of instances, men who date pre op trans women, if you go in their inbox, go through their phone, go through their messages, you will find girls who look like they just put the wig on yesterday with a flat chest, no type of curves. And to be clear, getting titties does not make you a woman because there's plenty of fat men out here with cups bigger than some of you girls that's been moaning and then got implants. So having a fat chest isn't necessarily a marker of womanhood. So, but a lot of times if you go look through these men's phones that you dealing with, because I've looked through a many when I was pre-op, and I think that every man that messes with me now is still bisexual because I'm going to tell you all the tea. So you need to be comfortable with your sexuality, period. So I'm not putting you down. I'm just saying what it is for me. Any man who exclusively only wants to deal with a pre-op trans woman is most likely gay and just has not had that come to Jesus moment or that come to Oshun or that come to Yemaya moment. Let's just go ahead and keep it real. Most of them, 95% of them are working and so how I said that? Prefer a very feminine male. The more feminine the male is, the better. But I need this penis. You ain't got that penis, that's a deal breaker for me. If you ain't got that cock, that's a deal. You ain't gotta have no titties. You ain't gotta have no hips. You ain't gotta necessarily have no long hair. But you gotta have that dick and balls. And it's got to be fully functional. That's a deal breaker if you ain't got that. Baby, that's homosexual. You ain't got to call it gay, but it's homosexual. Because he wants to sexually engage with someone who has the same parts as him. That's what homosexual is. See, y'all try to use that word gay, but it's still homosexual. Y'all are still engaging with each other in the same way that homosexuals engage. So I'm not fixing to sit up here and you're not finna force me to play these games. It's homosexual. If he only wants to now, if he messes with pre-op trans women, post-op trans women, if he dates females, he could be bisexual. He could be um he could be fluid. He could be pansexual. He could be these things. But if he exclusively only wants to deal with pre-op trans women, and some of these pre-op trans women, we know when they go home and take all of that stuff off what it look like. We know when they go home and wash their face and take off their wig and take off all that makeup and take all of that. We know what it look like. So is he really there? Like this is this. He could really just be there for the illusion, and it's like a beard situation. It's like you playing dress up validates the fact that I'm more masculine or that I'm more dominant or that I am um, I am the man in this particular situation. Like you playing dress up allows me to keep my to it's almost like we're protecting them, like we're caping for them, like it's being a savior, like protecting him, letting him hide, behind this illusion of womanhood, so to speak. So yeah, that's just my opinion on that. Um, if he only exclusively dates pre-op trans women, like just pre-op trans women, nothing else, and he don't talk to nothing else, that's either our sister or a member of the community in the making, in my opinion, from my experiences, what I have seen, what I have witnessed. On to the gold digger part. Now, I'm gonna be really brief with this because this is more so to make people think. This is more so to ask a question, to really just make you think, because I want people to be thinkers. If a woman, whether she's trans, whether she is born with a womb, if she requires a man to give her money, now mind you, the money that we get in this nation has white faces on it. So, who is it probably making the wealthiest? Uh, I lived in Africa for 9 months. Money with black faces on it ain't worth nothing over here. But when you are a woman, a black woman in particular, because I got to speak about black women. When you are a black woman in particular, and you require your man to have a lot of money or your man to coin you, so this means that he needs to be invested in this system. He needs to be invested in patriarchy. He needs to be invested in white supremacy in order for him to procure the wealth that you need. He has to be in line, let me say it again, with the brotherhood. He has to be in line with patriarchy. He has to submit to white supremacy in order to get out in that world and bring you those dollars, bring you that money. He has to. This is the reality. And we could sit up here and talk about how black people have been making strides, but there has always been a demographic of people who look like this and not like this, who have not felt the brunt of their skin complexion, or who have not felt the pain. There's always been a group of people who look like this and not like this, who have been protected from the ramifications of oppression. Because when we look in our history books, how many wealthy people that are black have we really seen murder? A lot of people will talk about what happened when they bombed Black Wall Street. But was not the World Trade Center bombed as well? Did they not kill President Kennedy? Did they not kill Abraham Lincoln? It's not about color. It's about you not supporting the narrative that we're trying to present to the sheep. You're going against the narrative that we are presenting to the poor and working class. There's a narrative set in place to distract us and to get us to focus on that. But go in your history books and show me how many wealthy people who look like this, who had real money, who had real white man money, who was really invested in the white man system, in the white man society. Go and show me the laundry list of those who were murdered. Show them to me. Let's talk about them. Because I'm tired of talking about poor black people who are murdered. Because guess what? Poor white people probably get murdered the same way. But we focusing on the poor black murders because that's the whole point, to keep us divided. Show me all the wealthy people. Show me all the rich black people who are getting murdered. Show them to me. Show me the rich black people that this system ain't working for. Show them to me. Show me the wealthy black people complaining. And what we're getting messages from people who are wealthy is that we all need to be silent. We all need to be complicit. We need to be compliant. This is why I can't really get into Beyonce. I think Beyonce is an amazing artist. I think she's super talented, but she's too quiet for me. She's too quiet for me. I need to know more about how you became. What's going on? I don't need you to wait until you in your 60s and then write a book talking about becoming Beyonce. I don't need that. I need you to let me know real time. How did you become? How do you navigate? How do you do? You too private. You too quiet for me. And so you got people that don't have a pinch of what Beyonce makes, a pinch of what Jay-Z makes, a pinch of what P. Diddy makes, that have learned that they need to move in silence. But when you move in silence all the time, because sometimes silence can be powerful, but when you move in silence all the time, are you really helping? And so you have to ask yourself, a lot of these gold diggers, do they really even want men? Because if you can be so happy with, and you call yourself pro-black and pro-negro and pro-African indigenous, if you so invested in blackness and you're so invested in our struggle and you're so invested in the struggle of our people, why would you want a man who is invested in the very things that continue to oppress poor people, your people? That's why I keep telling y'all, just because we all this color or close to this color doesn't mean it's from your same tribe. All skin folk ain't kinfolk. We ain't all from the same tribe. If you that invested in procuring these greenbacks with white faces on them, are you really invested in the progression of your people? No, you're not. You're more invested in your comfort. And let's be clear, this is not me condemning, because next year I'm trying to, like, I'm on a mission. I'm trying to get that white man money. I'm trying to get them white coins. Because now what I see is that a lot of society, it's fake. It's all a game. All a game. Like, all of it. So much of it is a game. I sit up here and I watch these. I like to watch Christmas movies and Hallmark movies, and I see a lot of these black and white narratives coming together in these Hallmark movies and these Lifetime movies, and we have to realize that that is the main vein of society. People who align with Hallmark and Lifetime, those are the people who are responsible for really shaping society and shaping consciousness. These are the ones we trust with the future. These are the ones we trust to shape the consciousness of the main vein of society. And so I like to watch these movies, and I realize this is a game that's been going on. Wealthy people who look like this and wealthy people who look like this, they've been working together. And they do not have the best interests and hearts of people who really honestly want to see a society that is not sustained by white supremacy, that is not sustained by patriarchy, that is not sustained by the views and thoughts of the westernized society. They don't care about your holistic care. I was just on the phone today. I worked my job for 10 months. And I had to quit my job. I literally, I had to quit. I couldn't work it no more. um, with the loss that I've just suffered from my partner, who I was with on and off. It's so much, child. It's a whole book, like, but I literally he was supposed to be coming up here to see me. He couldn't come because there was a lot going on. I'm legally tied to somebody else right now, and I felt, like I don't regret, marrying that person or being with that person, but I have to be honest with myself. The reason why I did it was because I didn't want to feel like I was still pining for the one that was supposed to come up here, and he never did make it up here. He passed away literally like the same week everything was supposed to be happening. Like, and that's hit me hard. That's hit me hard, and it's made me think about a lot of things, and made me question why I loved him and why I wanted to be with him so much. And it was because I could be naked in front of him. We rarely meet people that we could be truly naked in front of. We could take off the wigs and the makeup and the hair and just be naked and just living our truth and just talk about whatever it is that's going on, in our lives. Talk about whatever it is that we struggling with. We don't have to pretend we got it together or we on point or we always on top of everything. Like, it's hard to find people that you could be naked in front of. And when I think about that scripture in the Bible where Adam and Eve was naked in front of each other, I think about that type of nakedness. They were naked in front of each other. Everything was exposed. Everything lay exposed. And I was able to be naked in front of him. And I don't really have nobody now that I feel like I could be completely naked in front of. And so that hit me hard, and I needed to take some time off of that job. I caught myself this time, because, baby, a manic episode was coming, and I was about to blow up the spot. I start sabotaging relationships and blowing up the spot, honey, when that depression started kicking in. And I learned, from my experiences in Louisiana not to do that. And so when I left my job, I had supervisors calling me, wishing me well, sending me text messages, wishing the best for me, praying for my wellness, because I was able to catch it before I completely went on a downward spiral and I blew up the spot everywhere. But the thing that pisses me off about our government is it's set up in a way that harms us religiously. It makes a religion out of harming us because healthy, healed people don't spend money. Let me say that again. Healthy, healed people don't spend money. What do they need it for? So the goal is to keep you broken, to keep you feeling empty, to keep you feeling this sense of lack, this sense of unworthiness, this sense that you have to keep trying to achieve and you have to try to accomplish. That is the goal. And so I'm sitting here with where I am in my life. I have been living in my truth over 30 years. I've known who I was longer than that, since I was a baby. When I talk to counselors, when I talk to therapists, when I talk to psychiatrists, I feel like they should be paying me. I rarely meet psychiatrists and therapists who actually can offer me something that I'm not already doing. Yes, I have mental issues because I live in a lopsided, white supremacist, patriarchal reality, and I have melanin and curves. I'm living with the nothingness. Yes, I have mental issues. If I didn't have mental issues, I would be a robot or a cyborg. If I didn't feel anything after having to navigate such terrain, it is expected. of me to have issues. It is expected of me to have dysfunction. And unlike most people, I try not to just eat my feelings because it's all a communion. And so I struggle with my weight. So many of my sisters, they're able to be successful and they're able to have this look of success, but they sitting there looking like they're about to explode because they're eating their problems. Liquor, alcohol is legal, but you're not supposed to drink too much of that. Too much water ain't good for you. Now this is not for people who big boned and been big their whole life. But some of y'all ain't been big your whole life. Some of y'all got in this work and blew up. I ain't saying no names. But all y'all didn't start out big. Some of y'all just got big. And it's because the work is wearing on you. I understand big bone people. I understand heavy people. I have heavy people in my family. But some of y'all blew up doing this work. Some of y'all blew up on this plantation. Some of y'all got on this plantation and blew up. And some of us at home self-medicating in private, snorting cocaine. Some of us hitting a rock every now and then. But guess what? Ain't none of us got no room to judge. Some of us shopaholics. We all got a way of managing and dealing with this pain. But at the end of the day, it's all supporting a system that continues to oppress our people. So you have to ask yourself at the end of the day, if you so concerned about his money and you love his money so much and you need his money so much, aren't you really attracted to him? Are you really just a lipstick lesbian? Because who do you want attention from? Other women? You want other women? You want to make other women eat it? You want other women to see you with your expensive bag, your expensive purse, your expensive shoes, your nails done, your hair done. You peacocking for other women. You trying to impress other women. Boo, that sound like a lesbian. Who you trying to keep up? Who you trying to keep up appearances for? So I'm back over here because men don't need all of that. Child, most men, if you put a hole in the wall, they'll screw that. So you ain't doing all that for them. All that wig and makeup and lashes and nails and stuff. You ain't doing that for these men. Unless you dating a gay man that want a drag queen. Because most men, they continue with this I want it natural narrative. Now, don't get me wrong. They will screw a Barbie doll. They love screwing Barbie dolls because it's eye candy. It's something to look at. Although I feel like most men is becoming eye candy in this day in society. But it's eye candy. Oh, yes, let me play with this doll. Let me screw this doll. Let me bang this doll up. Let me play with this doll. But once they done playing with it, can she cook? Is she is she a healer? Is she nurturing? Does she have that maternal energy? Does she have wisdom? Probably not. I'm not gonna say all glamorons is shallow, but a lot of y'all are. So anyway, back to my job because I'm about to wrap this up. But yeah, so when I was working my job, the money went to my art. The money went to me going in the studio, putting on events where we could come together as community. Um, the money went to that. The money went to like I always went in the studio. Tried to put out, some type of art, some type of music video, like my art is very important to me. And people think, oh, she just be going in the studio, you know, for nothing. No, if you listen to every song that I put out, every song I put out, and most of y'all don't really listen to my music because y'all programmed. But I'm telling you, I need my own music. If it wasn't for the art that I make, I would have been harmed myself and probably took a city block with me. Y'all talk about people who live off the government and people who get SSI and people who get welfare assistance and people who get stuff like that. My heart goes out to a lot of the people because a lot of people get SSI and they get them checks on the first and they be at the ATM that night and by the next day the money be gone because it's really not nothing you could do anything with. So they be out panhandling and begging for the rest of the month. But to be clear, y'all think everybody should get up and work and everybody should traumatize themselves and everybody should be in negative environments. Let me tell you something. If y'all got what y'all wanted, and all of these people that was on SSI got off of SSI and went and got a job and started working, you think it's some chaos in this world. You'll really see some then. Because when them manic episodes kick in, and when them schizophrenic episodes kick in, and when people truth start coming out, and when people can't contain that depression and that anger and that trauma that they've been feeling, and they literally blow up. They start plotting and scheming, and they come in and they blow your shit off the map. They start plotting and scheming, and they come in and they decide, you know what, today is the day I'ma go, and I'ma take all you bitches and niggas with me. Today is that day. You gonna wish you would have let them get that SSI, and you gonna wish you wouldn't have had them smart ass comments to say about them getting it. You gonna say, you know what, we should give them a little bit more. Because art therapy costs money. It costs money to heal yourself in a capitalistic society. Because the moment that you find a place of peace, you got to go back outdoors and wade in the feces of this reality. You got to go back out your doors and deal with the frequency of other people. And most people on the frequency are trying to work their way up on the plantation so that they could lick massa boots. That's how most people is. And when they lick massa boots, they call him Jesus. They call him God. A God-fearing man. Why would you fear where you came from? What is a God-fearing man? What is a God-fearing woman? Why would you fear where you came from? Why would you fear what lives in you? Why would you fear something that you are a part of? Make it make sense. It's a lot of slaves that are leading the narratives. And this is the thing. I hear all the time when we talk about black television and black TV and how far black people have come in mainstream and how far black people have come on the media. I pay attention to a lot of things. I don't talk about everything, but I pay attention to everything. When we talk about how far black people have come, when we talk about how far black people have come in mainstream and on television, let's be clear. The season in which black people were not on TV, black people weren't getting certain roles, black people weren't casting certain roles, they were setting us up for something. Black people were still wealthy, be ye not twisted. Black people were still extremely wealthy. They focus on these slave narratives, they focus on these stories, but there has never been a time in this country where there was a 100% poor black people. There's always been a demographic of wealthy people of color in America. They just weren't on the TV. And the reason why is because they needed to set in the narrative, they needed to raise up a generation to idolize white people. They needed to submit and consecrate that narrative. They needed a season to make white people look like saviors, to make white people look like they were everything and more. They needed that season. And the ones who grew up loving the TV, watching everything, waiting just to see a black person, waiting to see a black person change roles, and waiting to see a black person get a different thing of power, waiting to see black people get a different position of power. They were absorbing these images of white people, Caucasian people in power. They were absorbing these images of deeply melanated Aborigines, Negro people playing submissive roles, playing docile roles, being dictated to, and being depicted as servants. So regardless as to whether you come in the game trying to be a different example, you've already been indoctrinated with this in your mind. In order for me to have power, in order for me to be valid and to be relevant, I got to move like these white people, but with black skin. And this happens a lot in the South, where I'm getting ready to go back to. So I already know what I'm going back into. That's why I'm so thankful that I've had a chance to be free up here in this concrete jungle. Baby, I was going to work with face paint on. You think I could have done that in Louisiana? And I was working for black people. And I couldn't have went to work with face paint on. I wore a veil to work one time. I went to work with feathers. You think I could have did that working for my own people in the South? They too scared of what Master gonna think. They too busy trying to compete with Master. You can't have creative freedom like that. So I'm thankful that I've been able to have this experience in the concrete jungle. I'm thankful that I've been able to come up here and I've been able to express myself creatively. So when I have to go back home and start to navigate and start to move in that way in order to get the things that I need so that I can have my land and my peace of mind so that I don't snap like a bomb in Gilead. I needed this season. I needed to be liberated enough to be able to express myself and to know that it wasn't me. Because when I came up here, I thought it was me. My own people that looked like me, had me thinking it was me. The job that I worked at, it wasn't no melting pot. It was a gumbo. I worked with Jews. I worked with Asians. I worked with Hispanics, Latinas, and nobody ever told me how to dress or what I had to wear or what was appropriate or what was inappropriate. All that was important was my performance. How I engaged, what I did with the people. They never critiqued when I was at Brotherhood, I got critiqued. When I was working at the States, I got critiqued. And I was working for black people. That's the South for you. Stay in line, Negro. Don't be trying to stand out and get attention from massa. Know your place. I'm in line before you. Not too much authenticity from you. Coming up in here trying to be your own person. Don't be coming up in here acting like you sovereign. You better know your place. So I already know what I'm going back to when I get ready to go home. I already know what it's giving. I know what it's giving. And I'm ready. I'm ready. When y'all see me in the streets, you gonna see. But when I'm at home, when I'm in my yard, when I'm in my own little private space, honey, I'm going to have on my face paint and all of that. In 2023, you might not see too much of the natural from me. Because mama is in war mode. Mama is in battle mode. You might not get too much of this. You might not see too many live videos with the face paint and all that. Because I've laid the foundation. You know who I am. Y'all should know by now. But it's going to be Halloween when I go back. Coming back. I'm coming back and it's going to be Halloween for you, for you queens and kings. But anyway, yeah, so that's enough. You know, my the video is getting over is going over. I'm down to 10% on my phone. But that's pretty much all I wanted to say, you know, to wrap up, bring back the points to the video. If a man exclusively wants to date pre-op trans women, 9 times out of 10, he will identify as gay sooner or later if he only wants to date pre-op trans women. At some point, he will become trans, typically, or he will identify as gay. So let's not spew that narrative. If we around here dicking these men down, putting hormones in these men booty holes, what do you expect? Because if you moaning, you putting the moans in his booty hole. So, you know, he's on his way to being your sister, or he's on his way to being under the umbrella. Period. We're not going to tell that lie. I love you, T.S. Madison. Girl, I ain't beefing with you no more, girl, but we're not about to spew that narrative. Is she a gold digger or is she a lesbian? Ask yourself that question. If you're so invested in this man's money, and you know that this money is green dollars with white faces on it, you know this man is green dollars with white faces on it. Even in Africa, once you become wealthy, your money goes to fund other white countries. Because a dollar with a black face on it ain't worth nothing in this country. So you have to ask yourself, if you love his money so much, and you know that in order for him to get that money, get that paper, he got to be invested in white supremacy. He got to be invested in pay. You know that. So do you really want liberation for black women? Do you really love black women? Or maybe you just love black women so much that, hey, as long as you could take his money and go and eat coochie with it, you don't really care. Because a lot of these women really want to be with a pre-op trans woman, a feminine man, or a female anyway. A lot of these lesbians, a lot of these gold digging women, they don't really want dick. They use dick because they've been taught that their body has value, that their value comes from their body. And so the body is a business. But that soul and that heart and that spirit, it belongs to this piece of pussy over here. So a lot of y'all let lesbian women encourage y'all to be gold diggers. Encourage you to, baby, you better, your pussy is a gold mine. You better get that money. She don't even want him. She don't want nothing from him but his money. A lot of y'all been letting lesbians tell y'all how to be with these men. Because we ain't going to never end patriarchy and white supremacy by encouraging these men to get up on the plantation and work and push that mule. We ain't gonna never end it like that. That's why I want to get my money and get my own little society and vote for my own rules and vote for my own laws. Child, that's what I'm working towards. I want my own patch of land. I want to go and get legislation to protect my land so that we can have different laws and rules and set up, honey. So we ain't got to be a part of this shit. You know, at least my offspring, my ancestors, my spiritual ancestors, my spiritual offspring, honey. We got to do something different, honey. Because, baby, to do the same thing and expect a different results, honey, that's insanity. And a lot of y'all is insane, boo. It's insanity, boo. So, yeah. But, yeah, and you know, I'm just at this point in my life to where I really don't pay a lot of things no attention because a lot of these men who would sit up here and say, "Oh, you're a homosexual, you're a homosexual," child, you homospiritual. And then some of y'all, you know, in the trans community, in the gay community, girl, y'all just a double negative, girl. You is a spiritual homosexual and you's a homosexual, girl. You like having sex with the same sex, girl, and you pray to the same sex, girl. What we gonna do with y'all? Girl, you're spiritually homosexual and you're a physical homosexual. You're just one sided, girl. The word cut both ways, girl. The word is a two-edged sword, girl. Where is the other end of the sword, mama? Where is the cutting the other way, mama? Girl, you're praying the dick and you're loving dick? Really? You're he saw the best in me. Let me get on my knees and go over here and suck this dick. I'm trying to make it make sense, mama. Where's the balance? Then y'all want to blame females, a lot of females, for having so much eyes with y'all because we supposed to be the representation that helps to heal them. Y'all done got just as confused as them. Y'all done laid down and went to sleep with them. You was supposed to come here and wake them up, child. You done went to sleep with them. You done jumped in and took a nap with these children. Anyway, baby, I can't wait till we open a portal to a new dimension. Cause baby, I had enough of this shit. This is that bullshit. I'm telling you. Let me light this candle for the ancestors. I light this candle to acknowledge the ancestors who have come here today, um, yesterday, and every other day since I've been away from my altar. We light this candle to acknowledge those who are here, those who have come, and those who are coming. This candle represents the past, the present, and the future, which in my mind, Laylim Layler, faith and culture is the Trinity. The Trinity is the past, the present, and the future. That can be masculine and feminine and the offspring that masculine and feminine creates. If you have a creative enough mind, if you're a visionary, you can go there with me. If you've been brainwashed and programmed and colonized to the lowest common denominator, a lot of the things that I say is probably going to go over your head and it's going to sound like gibberish. You need to pray to King Jesus about that. That's all I can tell you. But anyway, I love you so much. Thank you so much for listening to me vent. This is therapy for me. You will probably be getting a lot more of this out of me now since I am unemployed, honey, and I got to wait for these crumbs that fall off the table until something else come through. Yeah, I had to have it out with them people on the phone this morning in the Social Security office. I'm like, child, art therapy costs money, and art therapy is saving lives, minds, and others because not only do it work for me, but the people that I influence and I help, we don't know what the world would be like if there was never a me. Teaching people how to tap into their creative side, teaching people how to create and to come from that space. We don't know what this world will look like. We don't know how many more serial killers and mass murderers the world has avoided thanks to a being like me. And y'all take that for granted. Y'all take that for granted. It's okay though, cause every dog have its day, honey. And it falls The rain falls on the just as well as the unjust, and everybody gonna have their season. And I have no doubt that mine is coming. Thank you, God Goddess. Down but down the last say cool, it keeps spinning and turning. Ian Gani, Iyanko Kalukalo, which means I am a child of God Goddess. And if I am, you know you are. As I blow out this candle on the physical plane, it grows with a fervent intensity on the spiritual plane, guiding our ancestors to the next phase of the journey, whether they be the caterpillar, the cocoon, or the butterfly.